I'm looking for a country that has over 700 islands and pink sand beaches, home to the deepest blue hole in the world. And what about the longest underwater cave system? Hmm, aha! It's the Bahamas. The Bahamas is one of the most unique countries, both geographically and culturally. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with a geographical breakdown. The Bahamas is made up of over 13,878 kilometers spread across the Lucayan archipelago, taking up over 97%, might I add, and is home to over 700 islands, the largest being the Andros Island, and 2,400 cays. Wow! The Bahamas also falls very close to the Tropic of Cancer. Since the Bahamas does not border any other countries, its closest major neighbors are the United States to the northwest off the coast of Florida, and Cuba to the south. Out of the 3,100 islands and cays in the Bahamas, majority of the population resides in the main 16 population centers of New Providence, where the capital Nassau is located, Bahama, Eleuthera, Cat Island, Rum Cay, Long Island, San Salvador Island, Ragged Island, Acklins, Crooked Island, Exuma, Berry Islands, Mayaguana, the Bimini Islands, Andros, Great Abaco, and the Great Inagua, which means that even though the Bahamas is home to thousands of separate islands and cays, very few are habitable, leaving much of the country with isolated, beautiful nature. The Bahamas overall is a very flat country, with the islands generally only having an elevation of 15 to 20 meters. However, the highest point is located on Cat Island. Mount Alvernia is the highest peak at around 64 meters, meaning the highest point is only about 3 to 4 times the normal elevation of the country. There are also 3 terrain ecoregions in the country: Bahamian dry forest, Bahamian pine mosaic, and the Bahamian mangroves. While there are a lot of forests, there are also many other natural wonders, including blue holes, coral reefs, pink sand beaches, and so much more. While we will talk about this more in the tourism section, we must move on to the climate zone. The climate of the Bahamas is relatively similar to many Caribbean nations. There is a lot of sun for sure. The Bahamas usually experiences a tropical savanna climate, which means there is a very small margin of temperatures between the warmest and coldest months. It is very rare, however, to experience temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius, which only happens a few times a decade. This means you'll never feel cold here. It has actually only snowed once in the Bahamas, in Freeport, on January 19, 1977. The average temperature in the Bahamas is around the mid to high 20s, meaning overall it is very sunny and dry throughout the year, with over 340 days of sun a year. Much of the vegetation grown here has to adapt to the dry, warm climate with minimal rainfall. Unfortunately, natural disasters, mainly hurricanes and tropical storms, do sometimes hit the islands, the most recent major one being Hurricane Dorian in 2019. Now that we've finished climate, let's move on to demographics. The Bahamas has a population of around 350,000 people. The population growth rate by decade has usually expanded to about 10 to 25% since the 1930s, which means about 1% each year, with an exception of a 50% growth rate between the 1950s and 60s. In terms of ages, the majority of the population, as expected, falls between the 25 to 54 age category, making up just under 44% of the total population. It was a bit more challenging to find the ethnic composition data for the Bahamas as it is a very small country. However, from the data that I found, 90 to 92% of Bahamians identify as Afro-Bahamian, in particular with origins in Western Africa. However, there is a smaller community of Afro-Haitians who settled on the southern coast of the country. Another 5 to 6% of the country identifies as white Bahamian, many from Scotland and England, but also a small population identifies as Greek. Some other demographic information surrounding the Bahamas includes the median age of the country is around 32.8 years. The life expectancy sits at around 75.9 years. And the official language is English, often known as Bahamianese, which is spoken by the majority of the population. However, 25%, mainly the Haitian community, speaks Haitian Creole. Now, let's move on to the government section. The Bahamas, or the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, as the country is still under the British Commonwealth of Nations, has a parliamentary democracy under constitutional monarchy, with a Prime Minister, Governor General, and of course, the monarch, which makes the Bahamas' government structure very similar to those such as Canada, Australia, or the United Kingdom. The Bahamas did declare independence from Britain on July 10, 1973, making that date the National Day of Independence in the country. The Chief of State is Queen Elizabeth II, the Governor General is Cornelius A. Smith, and the Prime Minister is Philip Davis, who, as of recording, has only held this position for a few months after the recent election in mid-September of 2021. Similar to other Commonwealth countries, there are 3 branches of government: the judicial, the legislative, and the executive. The capital of the Bahamas is Nassau, located on the island of New Providence, which is home to over 270,000 people, making it by far the largest city in the country, and also distinguishing it as the center of commerce, education, law, and administration for the Bahamas. The Bahamas is also home to 31 administrative divisions, such as Cat Island, Grand Cay, Harbor Island, the Abacos, the Andros, and West Grand Bahama. And with that, it's now time to learn about Bahamian culture. When learning about culture, I always like to break it down into 4 parts: art, music and dance, cuisine, and famous people. Let's begin with art. Art in the Bahamas comes in various beautiful forms. There is straw weaving, a more traditional type of art, which can be found all over the islands. Straw weaving was and is still often used to make baskets and hats, and was seen as a skill that was used to create a way to carry food. Straw weaving is often sold at local markets, and of course, the straw market in Nassau, where straw weaving art comes in many shapes and forms. Canvas art has also seen a strong influence in the country, with many famous artists such as John Cox, M.S. Ferguson, and Eddie Minnis creating beautiful canvas art pieces. These pieces can range from traditional, folk, pattern, and landscape artwork, with a lot of paintings showing the beauty of the Bahamian landscape. Other types of art can include stone and coral art, sewing, and sculptures. The National Art Gallery of Bahamas is a great way to see some of the Bahamas' beautiful art. Music and dance, just like art, has had a lot of influence on the islands. Many different styles of music include calypso, dancehall, reggae, soca, and steel pan, some coming from other Caribbean islands, which have all created a beautiful dance scene in the country. Goombay is a very popular style of music which can also be heard everywhere. A popular type of dance in the Bahamas is the Bahamian quadrille, which can be found commonly at the Junkanoo, the National Music and Dance Festival of the Bahamas. It happens every Boxing Day and New Year's Day, and often on the Independence Day in July. It is truly a magical sight with beautiful costumes, music, and dance. Some popular Bahamian musical artists include the Bahamen, known for the famous song Who Let the Dogs Out, Johnny Kemp, and Ronnie Butler. In terms of cuisine, Bahamas has some amazing dishes and drinks. Some of these dishes include anything with conch, including cracked conch fritters, or conch chowder. It is important to note that due to overfishing, conch has become a threatened species, so many countries have put strict regulations on fishing it. Other foods include lobster, grits, Bahamian stewfish, fried fish, crab, pigeon peas and rice, a popular side dish, Johnny cakes, and all the best coconut desserts. Some of the best Bahamian drinks often include Bahamian rum, such as the Goombay Punch. Let's wrap up the culture section by mentioning some of the most famous Bahamians. Bahamas has truly made a global impact, and some of the most well-known Bahamians include Calvin Lockhart, Roxy Rocker, Lenny Kravitz, Esther Roll, Johnny Cox, Rick Fox, Olympic gold medalist Debbie Ferguson McKenzie, and legendary actor Sir Sidney Poitier, who was the first Black actor to receive an Academy Award. Finally, let's end today's video by talking about some of the famous tourist spots in the Bahamas. The Bahamas is one of the most internationally recognized nations for tourism, and while some of them is due to the beach resorts, such as Atlantis Paradise Bahamas, there is a lot more of the Bahamas that needs to be seen. Let's start with some of the historical and cultural sites. The Cloistier in Nassau are French buildings which was imported to the Bahamas brick by brick in the 1960s based on original buildings built in the 14th century. Next is the Dunmore town in Harbour Island, which was the only town on the island, providing a glimpse into a historical and cultural Bahamian town. In Freeport, there is the Port Lucaya Marketplace, which is a huge market home to many big brands, local artists, and so much more. Back in Nassau, you can experience a horse carriage ride through Parliament, where you can see and understand a lot of Bahamas' history in the center of the capital. Other historical and cultural points include Columbus Point in Long Island, Paradise Island Lighthouse in New Providence, Sapona, the ruins of a shipwreck in Bimini, and Blackbeard's Tower in Nassau. Moving on to some of the natural wonders of the Bahamas, there is the famous Pig Beach in Great Exuma, where you can swim with a family of pigs. There's the beautiful Harbour Island, home to the gorgeous pink sand beaches and plenty of water activities. If you travel to the largest island, Andros, you can swim and snorkel amongst the third largest barrier reef in the world, and lots of underwater blue holes and caves. There are also plenty of beautiful caves, including Green Turtle Cay, Elbow Cay, and the Treasure Cay, all filled with gorgeous backdrops and beautiful beaches. There are so many beautiful sights to see in this nation, and the fact that there are many islands and caves makes it incredibly difficult to see all of the wonders this country holds. That is all for today's episode on the Bahamas. I really hope you enjoyed and learned something new about this beautiful, amazing nation. Stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you so much for watching.